going to call the meeting to order for the Clemson City Police Advisory Board, April 25th meeting. We'll start with our roll call. Myself, Lisa Robinson, present. Jackie Myers is absent. Kevin Dell, present. We've got Sandy Edge, absent. Riley Wright is excused for ROTC. Pablo Lunda, present. Lane Masseri, present. Clinton Hunter, and Ashby Williams is excused for track meet. So we will go on to the approval of the agenda. Everyone's got that in front of them. Do we have any changes, edits? If everything looks in order, if we can get a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the question. All those in favor? Okay.
Sorry.
No opposed, no abstentions. Okay. We will go on to approval of the previous minutes. So you also have those in front of you. If you haven't had a chance to look through those yet, go ahead and read through those. See if we have any changes to be made. Any edits. Okay, I've had a chance to review. Minutes in order. If we could get a motion
Motion.
to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Approved and seconded. All those in favor? Okay. All right, so we will now go on to citizen comments. And we do have some people are you here to make a comment? No. Okay. Okay, and we didn't.
We didn't receive any online.
Okay, so the next order of business is proposal to move the August meeting for the 22nd, move that to the 29th.
Yep, I'll be on vacation, so we need to move it.
Mm-hmm.
So if nobody has any objections, we'll move it to the 29th.
Is that good with everyone?
29th of August, yes.
August.
1 second.
Okay.
So that's the Thursday before Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we'll be here. If not.
If not, it's time of vacations, we understand.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Okay, so we'll go ahead and approve that. I don't think we have to vote on that.
Since it's a regularly scheduled meeting, you have to.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we have.
Motion to have it on the 29th.
Yes, thank you. Can we get a second for that?
Approved.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. All right, on to golf cart ordinance.
Yep, Captain Matt Colberth is here. He wants to propose enacting a golf court ordinance, and I'll let him explain the problem and what we're trying to solve and the direction he wants to go.
So, I know this is kind of a trivial thing, golf carts in Clemson. But how many of y'all think, how many golf carts do you believe are registered in the city of Clemson?
I didn't know they had to be registered.
Sir?
I didn't know they had to be registered.
Good answer. Good answer. So, anybody have just a guess?
About 100.
It's 477. In the downtown district, there's 72 registered golf carts. Patrick Square has about 34. Country Walk has some, but the majority of them are registered to the university. And if you've ever been downtown on a ball game day, ball game night, people bring golf carts to Clemson, and I was talking to the chief, and I've talked to our prosecutor and our city attorney, and looked at other cities, how they were dealing with golf carts. And a lot of them require registration. You have to register your golf cart through the state, pay $5. And I want to propose that we also require a secondary registration, basically a sticker, that if you live in the city of Clemson, it can be a trivial amount. I looked at stickers. Stickers are $4. But to get it registered in the city of Clemson, you have to be a resident, tax bill, water bill, something like that. And it gives us a way to differentiate really who should be driving a golf cart, who shouldn't in the city. And this is kind of a small, what I proposed.
How will this help you?
We can tell who's supposed to be here, who's not.
So you have a lot of that, a lot of
Oh, yeah.
people just trailer them in and,
Oh, yeah. And what scares me is the majority of golf cart accidents, there's not a good statistic as far as how many occur in the state, but the majority of them that I could find that did occur, usually if you have a child under 4 years old, ends in a fatality. If you have a child 6 to 4, it's hospitalization and so forth. And if you've ever,
passengers riding in the back is what you mean.
right, there's no way to regulate that. But what I propose we can regulate is that if you don't live in the city, don't bring your golf cart from campus. Because what campus allows you to do is certainly not what we should be allowed to do. And what scares me is that they don't follow the rules, for one, because you cannot drive a golf cart at night. If you want to drive something at night, sell your golf cart and buy a $10,000 LSV. Nice golf cart's about $8,000. LSV you can drive at night, low speed vehicle.
What is an LSV? What is it?
So LSV is basically it's basically starts out as a golf cart, but it is built specifically for a low speed vehicle. It has headlights, it has turn signals, it has seat belts, has rearview mirrors, and it meets all the DOT qualifications.
Speed limits or?
Anything under 35, you can drive LSV. It has a tag on it, everything. Golf carts cannot be made into LSVs. ATVs, you can't even drive on the roadway whatsoever. I mean, you can't. But
Or side by side.
or side by side, yeah, which is I consider an ATV. Again, I'm trying. Like I told the chief, we had a couple of college kids wreck their golf cart back during homecoming that they had taken from Bowman Field and rolled it over on College Avenue. College kids, 21, 22-year-old kids. What scares me is that we're going to have a tragedy one day where a small child gets run over, especially a ball game weekend. Because you'll see them ride through town with 10 kids on it, 8 kids on it, just pile full of kids. And it just takes somebody not paying attention to rear end them, run a stop sign, be drunk, hit them. So this is kind of where I want to start. It's a very simplistic ordinance. Basically, you have to have a state permit, and then you have to come to either the police department, city hall. We haven't really got that far. Pay whatever minimal amount it is. Prove you're a city resident, and then you get a sticker that says you can drive your golf cart in the city of Clemson.
So what is it now? They get a state sticker and they can just drive wherever?
So, yes. So let's say I'm coming from Charleston, South Carolina with my golf cart. I know Kevin Dole. I could put Kevin's address on my registration that says I can drive 4 miles from your house to the stadium. So there's there's an inherited flaw in the system the state has, that you can put any address you want.
Yeah.
And I find it hard to believe, and me and the chief discussed this, that the university, when I asked them how many golf carts they had, they said, oh, we got about 50 or 60. And there's 473 registered,
With the state.
well, yes, with the state.
So you don't do any
Yeah.
you don't do any
That
registration
department has a couple.
Yeah.
through the university.
You know, so,
I mean, I don't think we have 400, but I think we have more than
Yeah,
50.
I would say so.
right, which is,
Yeah.
you know,
Do they don't have to be registered on the university if they're driving them around the, oh, they
yeah,
do?
they still have to have a golf cart registration.
Okay.
Have to have liability insurance, golf cart registration. And another thing this would assist us is if there's a golf cart parked downtown in a parking spot, I don't have the ability to run that registration number at all. There's no way to tell whose it is. It's probably a university golf cart by the color, you know.
Well, most university ones, I don't want to say all of them, but a lot of them, they actually
Branded.
have a sticker
Right.
that it says the department that they belong to. I wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them do, you know.
But those are problematic because they drive on the sidewalk, park wherever they want.
Yeah,
they
and
don't-
sometimes I'm sure they spill into the city too.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's what I'm saying. When they come downtown,
Yeah.
they'll park wherever they want, thinking, oh, it's a golf cart, I can park it wherever I want.
What is it? Is this just football weekends, or it just any day of the week you could drive it down there?
Well, you could, if you live downtown, you can drive your golf cart downtown anywhere 7 days a week, sun up to sundown. Can't drive it at night whatsoever.
As long as it's not on a road that's more than 35 miles per hour.
Which the downtown district, there's nowhere down there really that you could not drive a golf cart. You can't drive it on 123 because it's a 40 mile an hour. You couldn't drive it on, you can't drive it on 133 College Avenue once you get past 123 because it's a state highway then. It's not a secondary road.
Meaning you can't cross it, or
You can
just
cross it, but you can't drive on it. I work at most ball games, I work this traffic signal up here, and I see them on 123 all the time, but there's so much traffic that it's just hard to get to.
Yeah.
You can't stop it.
So I see this, copies of the stickers here from other locations. So
Yes,
this
ma'am.
has been successful in other college towns in particular?
College towns, I don't know about. Most of the towns that I could find were beach communities. And again, there's a difference between a resident owning a golf cart at Patrick Square, which is a confined area that you drive from you know, Joe's Pizza to your house, or from your house to the pool, that kind of thing. The one thing I didn't want to do is punish residents of the city. You know, and I wanted, if I looked at pricing of stickers, and I told Mr. Blondo, I said, this isn't a money-making deal. This is, I don't care about making money. I care about life and safety, and if the sticker costs $3, well, you know, you can pay $3 for a sticker.
So for people who are coming from out of town, out of state, they're coming up for games, they're visiting kids for graduations and different things, maybe they have rental property in the area, they're bringing their golf cart up, is there gonna be like a limited use permit that they could acquire?
No.
No.
If you have rental property and you have a long-term lease, you're considered a resident.
Okay.
Almost. In this instance, this is more of people bringing their golf carts for special events, especially on the university, that drive them everywhere and park them everywhere. And there's no way to really differentiate a townsperson versus someone from out of town, if that makes sense.
But so they would not be able to use or bring their golf
They
cart?
can on campus.
I was about to ask what the
I mean, that's,
UPD says
But-
about
this is completely on the city, not campus.
Right, but most
Usually
people,
what happens,
they're not.
yeah, but usually what happens
coming to
is,
town.
if you spend $14,000 for your parking spot to bring your RV, bring your golf cart, and to drive from the RV spot to the stadium, well, it's become problematic is they drive all in town up and down College Avenue at nighttime, daytime,
Oh, yeah.
packed full of kids, and someone's going to get injured. Because I would dare say that 50% of the time, if not more, that someone is drinking in the golf cart, if not the operator of the golf cart. Which again is against the law. You can't have a container in a golf cart because it's considered a motor vehicle. This is a way for us to track whose golf cart it is. If Lisa Robinson has a golf cart and she gets a sticker and it's sticker number 461, just arbitrary numbers.
Yeah.
That sticker, we can look back on either Excel sheet or Access sheet and say, oh, well, that belongs to Lisa Robinson. Here's her address, here's her phone number. Hey, you need to come move your golf cart.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the need for it, and I do see lots of instances where there are a lot of kids just sort of hanging on the back of a cart. But I do wonder, with so many people coming to the area for games and things, sort of standard practice is bringing those carts with them, if that's going to be problematic. And if there would be a way to give them some short-term permit so that you know who's coming with it, who's bringing it. Because to expect them to stay on campus, once the sporting event is over, they're going to be, they want to be everywhere.
And see, that's the problem, is they are everywhere.
Right.
But
if you want to know who it is in case something happens, and let them know that they have to register it, and these are the requirements.
Madam Chair.
So you're only supposed to drive within 4 miles of your registered address. And a lot of these folks live not in the city, and what will happen is they'll bring their golf cart and drive it wherever, because the athletic department doesn't regulate it very much at all. And they assume that if I can drive it on campus, it's okay to drive everywhere else.
If I may, in the instance of time, part of our process for instituting a new ordinance, just similar to what we did when we did the tethering ordinance and we did the sidewalk, we're going to have to do a work group, and we can work out a lot of these questions in the work group. What he provided you is just a quick example draft based on the other ordinances he's seen. So I think because we'll be here all night if we keep asking what if this, what if that. So let's, by your direction, find out who wants to be on the work group. We'll do a work group meeting, and we'll invite members, residents, to those work group meetings to give their input. And then we'll draft an ordinance with the work group to bring back to you all to vote up or down, and then take to council.
That sounds good.
I'll be glad to serve, because I've been thinking about buying a golf cart. And I have all of my neighbors going to buy a seal, so I'd be glad to help.
Buy an LSV.
Sandy and Kevin.
Buy an LSV.
I'll be in it if you want.
Is that a four-wheelers, what that is?
No.
Can we have more than?
Looks like a golf cart.
You can have, I think, up to 3, but you can't have more than 3 because then we get a quorum, right?
Okay.
He didn't get one of
Honest,
these.
that's okay.
Okay, so I've got Sandy, Kevin, and
I was over here asleep, or lost in Seneca.
There's an extra one here. Yes, the ordinance, he
Buy an
needs,
LSV.
does he have the agenda and everything too?
Must be vehicle.
Yeah, he has everything else. He
Just one question on that. So the sticker, you said accidents and all this, it's not gonna, we're no prevention about that. All the sticker's gonna do is allow you to find out whose cart it is, but is that gonna be a precursor to say, only you can drive it, Kevin?
No.
Okay.
No. As long as someone is 16 years old and has a driver's license, they can drive your golf
So
cart.
that's something I think we need to work out.
Which is
because you're
state
gonna
law.
have people that are gonna try and get around it. So you may have residents that register multiple golf carts, and then when people come into town, they say, oh, you can use this golf cart, and you can use that golf cart, and you can use that golf. So we have to work these things out in the work group. So until we have those discussions, and those are very good points, because there may be somebody that might think it's an opportunity to rent carts out during football games, and that would be problematic. They would have to get a business license. But those are things that we need to
Sure.
So I
discuss.
think we have the members for the work group, Sandy, Kevin, and Pablo, so
I also was gonna ask, okay, you don't register, what's the fine, or what is the consequence?
That's up for discussion during the work.
I've had both attorneys go from $25 for your first offense. One attorney told me $25, one of our prosecutors told me $25 first offense, and then second offense, we impound your golf cart. I had another attorney tell me, let's make it $235.50 and, make it pretty.
For those people who own a second home, is that considered being a resident?
Yes.
Like,
If you own
If you want a second home, you live here.
I mean, game day house is what we're talking about, you know,
Game day house would be fine because,
so you're a resident.
yeah, you're a
Okay.
resident. You own property here.
That's
Paying
good.
taxes in the city.
Everybody put your questions together and send them to our group and we'll talk.
Well, thank you so much for
All right,
bringing
you're
this
more
to
welcome.
us.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
I can't wait.
So since we're putting the group together, we've got everybody here, do we have any kind of idea of dates for the first meeting? Because I'll have to send notices out, I'll have to get citizens conjured together to go.
So we've got
Yeah.
Sandy, Kevin, and Pablo. Do you all want to set?
Can
If you can't give me a date right now, email me with some dates and we'll find some combined dates and then we'll set a date and then.
To me, it works better if you propose a date and then I'll tell you.
If you would propose 2 or 3 dates,
Okay, so we have graduation coming up. A lot of people are gonna be busy. I'll be on vacation the week of the 13th.
what?
We both will be at a conference the following week in May. So,
So you're telling me June probably?
no, well, I would say the fourth week in May, maybe is that the fourth week?
What week is the 23rd?
Isn't there holidays?
Oh, Memorial Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day on the 27th.
So the fourth week would be the 27th.
Yeah, that's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day is the 27th. So unless you want to do it a later day in that
It's
week.
26th, isn't it?
Is
Well,
the
that's the
27th.
ceremony on campus, the 26th. Scroll of honor.
27 is the Memorial Day.
Of May?
I mean, we're
you saying, Lisa?
meeting on the 23rd, right?
Correct.
So we should meet before then.
Should we come earlier?
We'll be returning from the conference on the 23rd. It's in Charlotte, it's only a 2-hour drive back.
Why don't we meet like the 9th, like Thursday? We just meet and we can talk about it, guys. You want to do it on the 9th?
On the 9th or
May
something?
9th?
Yeah.
May 9th, let me see.
Say it again?
May 9th is Thursday.
May 9th works for me. So far.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm-
graduation. If you're not working
May
graduation.
9th, I'm busy up until
Don't worry,
2 o'clock.
during the day, but
We'll just do it after that.
2:30?
2:30, 3 o'clock? May 9th.
Oh, okay, so
Unfortunately, it looks like I'm open.
Say again?
Unfortunately, it looks like I'm open.
Oh, unfortunately, right. You were the first one to volunteer, so I don't know.
So what time?
May 9th, 2:30.
Yeah,
I'll put it for 3 just in case your meeting runs late.
all right.
it will work better for me
Mine
at 3
won't run late.
because that means I have to,
I'm just coming off of the campus, so.
I mean, technically I work until 4:30, but I can ask off, but, so.
Downstairs.
If 3 is easier for you,
Do you want to?
3 is easier for Pablo.
Let's do it
So
3.
he's saying 4:30 because he has to be somewhere until 4:30, so we can do it. Is
And
4:30
I-
good?
Oh, that probably was.
4:30 is better for me because
Okay.
then I don't have to ask for leave.
Okay. So she'll set it for 4:30 and send everybody an invite.
Great.
That way I just go to work earlier and then leave.
Okay. I would say that would be just the initial meeting.
Yeah.
I know of at least one resident that has a golf cart that's interested in this. I know Captain Colworth probably knows a few, so we'll start inviting them. They probably can't come until later in the day too, because they all have jobs, so.
I know I've seen some driving around in Camelot, but I don't know if they live in Camelot, to be honest.
Is that person not, it's not country walk, is it?
No, the person
Can we
lives in
invite
the-
another person who's?
Yeah, you can
I
find-
see her all the time with all her
You
kids.
could find as many citizens as you want to come to the work group meetings, and I welcome as many
And they've been doing
viewpoints
it
as
for
possible.
years.
So we could say that we vetted it through multiple people.
Sounds good. Okay, I
Okay.
think we're all set with the work group then.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
May 9th.
Friday.
LSV, whatever that is.
Okay, so next we are on to the staffing review
Low-speed
and
vehicle.
status report.
Okay,
That's why they pay me.
we have one vacancy, officer vacancy that we've got a candidate who is already a certified officer, used to work for Anderson County Sheriff's Office. He left there and he's applied with us, so he starts in, I think, a week, maybe 2. We have one officer retiring, so that will open up another vacancy for us, and I think we already have candidates in the chute, so we should be able to get somebody to replace that. We have one officer in the academy right now. I think they graduate May 24th. We have a jail officer dispatcher who's in the jail school right now. They graduate, I believe, next Friday, a week from tomorrow. So, and then other than that, we don't have any other vacancies, so we're holding strong there.
Good.
As far as just overall departmental things, our golf tournament is on Tuesday. It's a shotgun start at 9 o'clock at Boscobel. So if anybody wants to come out, hang out from the board, we'll have food, drinks, that kind of stuff. Usually, everybody gets there between 7 and 9 and kind of mills around, and then at 9 o'clock, everybody goes out to their different holes, and you're more than welcome to hang out by the clubhouse if you want, as people come through the turn and that kind of stuff. More than welcome to come out. I already mentioned that Captain and I are going to the International Association of Chiefs of Police Technology Conference in Charlotte.
There you go.
That is the 3rd week in May, and we're lucky that it's as close as it is to us because it's just a drive up there. The full conference for the Chiefs of Police is in Boston this year. That's quite a hike, and I really don't want to go to Boston. And it's in October. They usually have it in October, and it usually conflicts with football season. So, very neat. There's a lot of innovative topics and discussions there, as well as a lot of vendors for a lot of the stuff that we use, and so it's just a good way to look at all the different vendors and what all their different products do, and give us a better idea of what's out there. It's like malls from yesteryear, where you used to be able to go into each store and see what everybody has. So this is a good way to do that. And so that's what we've got at the department.
Okay, and on to the crime review. Are there any questions about the staffing?
So crime review, I have our map up here. We're getting more consistent feeds into it now. So right here is the month of March. I want to point it, I think I brought this to your attention last meeting, but up in the upper left-hand corner up here, right off the lake, you see all these little cars up here. This is where we had that rash of burglaries, car burglaries, and we had 1 or 2 cars stolen. We luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had a rash like that since then. So again, emphasizing how the groups come into town, they do their deed and they leave, but they do pick different areas of town. Most of our incidences are right here off of College Avenue, the downtown area, and you do see a smattering of them up along 93 when I scroll down a little bit. I don't see any down on this end of town here, but I know there's some instances that have occurred down there this month so far. So in the month of March, we had 5 simple assaults reported. We had 1 breaking and entering. We did have 29 thefts from motor vehicles. A good number of those were the ones I just pointed out over there. 8 stolen vehicles. 2 of those stolen vehicles came from where those cars were broken into. 2 cars were stolen, and I believe the rest of them were either mopeds or motorcycles. We had 8 narcotics violations, 2 DUIs, 6 liquor law violations, 4 traffic, well, actually 10 traffic accidents, no. We have 4 traffic accidents here. And then we have, oh, that's right, okay, 14, I was looking at it wrong. 14 traffic accidents, 10 of which were hit and runs, and 2 animal complaints. We wrote 223 traffic citations, but we did 716 traffic stops. So the officers have really ramped up their traffic stops. Previous month they did 666 traffic stops. And I know this month in April, they've done a bunch too. They've been out there a lot.
I've seen 'em.
Where are the hit and runs occurring? Are those pedestrian involved or those are vehicles?
Most of them are vehicles. We had one hit and run that you saw on our Facebook page that happened this month actually, and that was, we were working a traffic crash scene in front of the neighborhood Walmart on 93, and we were directing cars around the crash scene. The tow truck driver that was working on getting one of the cars, one of the drivers that was going around was looking at the accident and was not paying attention and ran into a worker in the road, knocked him to the ground, and then kept on going. Luckily, the tow truck driver wasn't seriously hurt, but was hurt enough to go to the hospital. But no other pedestrian-related hit and runs that I'm aware of. Most of them are all vehicles or unattended vehicles. We get a decent amount sometimes in some of our parking areas, where by law they have to leave. You're supposed to leave your contact information if you don't know whose car it is. You write all that information on a piece of paper. We've worked a few where they've wrote bogus information on the paper and left it thinking they're not going to get caught. But in those areas, luckily for us, we've had technology in place that identified who they were. So,
Just out of curiosity, on the animal complaints, were those nuisance complaints, or was there any abuse involved in that?
no abuse that I'm aware of, because I would have seen a charge come, but we did, well, I take that back. I think I told you last meeting of one where the dog was left abandoned. That actually showed up in this month's report, but that was an incident that occurred in the month of March, but we were in the meeting in March, which I was reporting on the stuff in February. So remember, we're a month behind because it takes a while for us to compile the information. So something that I'll mention about the status, you may have heard comments from citizens at different meetings about ambulance service in the city. And just to kind of brief you, we had an incident where it took a decent amount of time for an ambulance to respond to a medical call in downtown Clemson on a Sunday. As if you're not aware, all ambulances are by statute controlled by the county, and there have been several citizens who have come forward saying they want a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week ambulance service for city. Well, the county spreads its resources based on their allocation, and the ambulance that usually services Clemson sits in Central, and if they're tied up on a call, then the next ambulance from wherever comes in. So I know that the city administrator is in talks with the university about adding ambulance service to our fire services agreement. So that's definitely something that's being looked into, and they'll present to council. You know, by all means, I think everybody's in support of that. So,
well, I didn't realize the ambulance service was not part of the fire service, or the agreement, I thought.
Say it
yeah,
again.
so he was saying he was surprised that the ambulance service was not part of the fire services agreement. Well, that's because of the way the state law was written in the resources. If the city decides that they want to provide its own ambulance service, then they have the right to do so, but then the city has to bear the cost of that. So that's probably why it was not involved in the fire services agreement.
So I remember when the fire chief came and he was talking about the EMT trucks and the different kinds that they have that they can send out. So is that something that might be utilized instead of the ambulance if it was like a big, a big crash or a big event?
So they would always send when requested. The primary response is determined by the county, unless you have your own ambulance service. And I think that's what was confusing to people, because they have never declined sending a unit if we request it specifically. But if it's a normal, average request response, it comes from the county.
I have a question. So I'm in the city of Clemson, Anderson County. If I call for an ambulance, is it gonna come from the city of Clemson or is it gonna come from Anderson County?
That's a tricky one.
There I am. Once
I
again.
don't know the answer to that question, and I'll have to ask.
Would you mind asking? I'm just.
Because it's, as I understand it, it's county by county, but because you're a city resident, I'm going to assume you're going to get the response that all Clemson City residents get. I don't believe the county of Anderson trumps what the city is, and I would not be surprised if the county of Anderson would say, because it's on the fringe, and so that's one less thing that they have to be responsible for.
Yeah.
But if we do our own ambulance service like is being proposed, then yeah, it would come from us because we're paying for it.
So right now, we don't have one.
We don't have a dedicated ambulance for the city of Clemson, no.
So, okay, so it would come from Anderson then?
No,
No?
No.
it would still come from Pickens.
Pickens, okay.
I'm pretty sure, but I'll double check.
If you would, I'm just curious, because it just popped into my head
Well,
one day that,
The other thing that comes into these agreements too is which unit is the closest, even if it goes across county lines, which is the closest unit that needs to go, and it depends on the medical emergency that you're being called to as well.
but the fire department would come from City of Clemson.
Correct.
Who makes that decision if it's closest, and who makes that decision? The dispatcher?
It's based on the agreements, it's based on distance, location from the station.
But I
all
mean,
those
it
things.
happens quickly, so.
Well, it's already pre-programmed into the computer, so based on your address, if that unit's not available because it's tied up on a call, it recommends the next unit based on those parameters.
So is the ambulance that's in Central for Clemson, does that also service the university?
If called onto the university, yes.
Because I'm not aware of
But the university has an ambulance that sits at the fire station
fire
on
station,
campus,
okay.
and they provide primary response for campus.
Is there no ambulance at the Isaquina fire station then?
Say again?
Is there no, so there is no ambulance?
There is an
at the-
ambulance at the Isaquina fire station, but it's not always staffed.
I see.
Okay.
And if they're low on staff, then it won't be staffed. And that's part of what Andy's working on, is having that staff 24/7.
What's the one on Perimeter? Is there an ambulance there?
That's the one that's
That's
at
the
their
one
main
for
station.
campus.
on
Main
campus.
Yeah, I was thinking, I thought I seen that.
And they have other vehicles that are ambulances that they deploy to their special events, softball, baseball, soccer. They have to supply those for those events. So they'll have, but I believe that's not an regular on-duty crew, and it's an additional crew.
So I have a question, not related to this. How did things work for the music festival that was in town? Because I know before we had looked at, some big event ordinances, things specific to college towns, if people were to hold other events sort of in adjacent properties and things. How did all of that work for this event?
So, because it was a joint event between the city and the university, we both worked together on the event. The venue was on campus, so anything that campus would require was what was discussed. There was discussions early on to have it at Tiger Park. The university was like, that's not a good location, and really,
that
it's
space
not a
wouldn't
good
have been big
location to
enough,
have something like that. So the city worked with the owners of Tiger Park and did utilize them in some manner. I know that the Uber pickup was across the street over there and drop off. But that's, we worked very well together, put the event together.
That's great. I mean, it seemed to have been without incident, which was great.
Right. Well, we
For
had
a
we
pretty
had
large
issues. We had
scale,
issues. We had to
pretty
deal
large
with.
scale event.
Yeah. So the drinking was a little excessive, but that may be expected. I don't know. There were some minor things that we had to work through, but in essence, I mean, overall, we had very few. There was some feedback that the city received and the university received on how to make it better. There was some feedback that I had heard that it was not really a family-friendly event. There wasn't really any place to sit because the way the event was run, once you were in, you were in. You couldn't go out and come back in again. So
I don't think it was intended to be a family friendly.
the city residents wanted it to be
more
of a family because of the combination between, from the university's perspective, the students had no, I would assume, had no desire for that. But because it was a joint event and was being marketed as a city and university event, they wanted it to be more family friendly. So that's, but other than that, I mean, it went relatively well. I believe we're going to probably see more events like that in the future.
Yeah. I like the fact that it was all contained and essentially fenced in. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions on crime review? If not, then we can go on to, do we have any other board member requests for presentations? Anyone that we want to bring to come speak to us? Not at this time? Okay. All right, open discussion. Anyone have any comments, new business? No? All right, hearing none.
So before we close, we mentioned it before, but I just put it on. Our two students' tenure ends in May, so we will be seeking both university and high schoolers. So the high schooler is high school aged, has to be a resident of the city, and then the Clemson student just has to be a Clemson student. So that's something that we will have to.
And I'll check with student government on who they're going to put
So if they appoint somebody, I just need to know what their name is, what their contact information is, so when they come back in the fall, we can get them in the fold. And then the high schooler we can communicate with, kind of bring in during the summer and kind of get them acclimated to it.
And how is that advertised to the high school students?
Right now it's word of mouth. I've got to go, I have a couple of administrators that I can reach out to. And Ashby said she was talking to a few people who might be interested too, so she is supposed to supply that information to us.
All right. Do we have anything else? If none, we can.
Just briefly, a nice article in the paper on the information about false IDs and those kind of things. I thought was very much. You gonna tell them at IACP about a little bit of that, maybe? I think that's a great piece of work.
In June, we'll be going to the ITGA conference. It's the International Town and Gown Conference, and it's in College Station this year. And there was some discussion about just talking about it there. Ironically, I got a phone call from an official in Virginia who is interested in putting it in place over there because of the issues that they're having. So it got a lot of traction across the country because I was made aware of news articles as far as it was far west, I know Texas, but a little further west than that as well, some of those news. And I forgot to show you, I have a stack of IDs here that are fake that
Oh my
we
goodness.
seized here in Clemson, and you could see
Just
the
looking at it, it
rainbow.
looks,
Yeah, this
you know, if
one
you
on the
just-
top's Illinois, but any state you could think of that's here. Got real good press coverage. Thank you for bringing that up.
Great job.
The bars are
Cooperative.
really liking it. The convenience store loves it. The liquor stores like it too. So we'll work on that over the summer as well. I know we're winding down because we're coming up to graduation and most of our student population will leave for the summer. And then we could tweak some things. And what we're planning to do as well is if you remember, one of the things we were offering is the state class that the state gives for retailers that sell alcohol and tobacco, and the acronym is eluding me right now. But I gotta, anyway, it's given by the Phoenix Center out of Greenville, but we offered it here before we started the program, and it teaches them all about the law, teaches them about how to look for stuff on the fake IDs if you can. So we're gonna offer that back up again in the fall because all of these establishments, when the students leave and they come back, they have turnover. So once they go to this class, they get certified. It helps the businesses out because now they're better informed about what the laws are, what the requirements are, and how they could get in trouble if they don't do what they're supposed to do. And so, Prep. Palmetto Retailer Education Program. Thank you. Sorry, it eluded me. So yeah, we'll offer that back up as well at the beginning of the fall.
Good job. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
All right, if we get a motion to adjourn, there's nothing
Motion.
further?
Second.
I like